All right, guys, it's finally time. We are going to put our producer Jorge in our 991.2 GT3. He talks the talk. Let's see if he can walk the walk. Vamos. Okay, guys, this is Jorge. You guys have seen him in some of our videos. You guys saw him explaining our Rexy issue, and you guys have also seen him going off-road in a go-kart. That was him. So he's been hanging out around us. He's been hearing everything and anything motorsports. He's been hearing setup. He's been hearing what we think, understeer, oversteer. He knows the terms. So I figured, what better car to put him in than our 991.2 GT3. That's an amazing handling car. And the item we're going to be doing first is going to be
Autocross.
Let's go, baby.
All right. Well, let me go grab my helmet first.
Okay.
All right. Vamos.
What is that?
My helmet, bro.
What type of helmet is this?
I mean, a helmet.
Okay. Well, this looks to be something like a motorcycle helmet. It does not have anchors for our Hans devices. So this is an automatic no. I have heard of some people drilling into helmets. We're not going to do that. So our cars have 6-point harnesses. He absolutely needs a Hans device. This needs to be better quality. What the hell is this, Jorge? Okay, maybe this is a good quality helmet, but not for what we're doing. This also doesn't have integrated comms. So let's go with our boys at CMS and see if they can take care of you.
All right, let's go check it out.
Let's go. So the plan is obviously to get you in a real car, in a real track. But before that, we're first going to put you in a real car, but in autocross.
Now, you guys have seen this before with Ryan and Alvin. We'll put that video up here. They went and did autocross a few months back, but this time we're going to switch things up. We're going to be doing things from a novice's perspective, so I can give you guys the insights on what I felt on the autocross track versus what I feel on the real track.
This is obviously going to happen, but not with that bullshit ass helmet. So let's go with our boys at Competition Motorsports so they can get you hooked up.
All right, let's go.
Let's go, baby.
All right, guys, we're here at Comp Motorsports in Austin, Texas. Today we're doing a little bit of a switcheroo. Felix is behind the camera now, managing that piece. So shout out to him. But let's go ahead and go inside and go meet Sean. Come on. What's going on, Sean?
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing today?
Not too bad, man. Well, thanks for having us at the shop today. Tell us a little bit about it.
Well, Competition Motorsport, we've been in business here in the Austin area for about 5 years now, and we've just been doing our best to provide safety for race car drivers here in town.
Sounds good. Well, it's about to be my first outing on the track, so we need to get myself some gear. First things first, Felix already crapped on my motorcycle helmet, so let's go ahead and get us hooked up with the helmet.
Excellent, let's go.
All right, Sean, so we're here in front of the helmets. Obviously, I've been fitted for a motorcycle helmet before, but never for a motorsports helmet, so tell me a little bit about that process.
Yeah, so first off, if you've already been wearing helmets in the past, you know, what have you been wearing and what kind of size? Do you know what size you're wearing? Even sometimes when you're wearing helmets, sometimes people are not wearing the proper size helmet.
Yeah.
So best thing to do, you know, right off the bat is to get a quick measurement from you. That way we kind of have an idea, you know, what your measurement might be a different size in each helmet anyway, but it'll at least give us a good starting point.
Okay, so let's do that. Let's deal with the hat here, and then
yeah, gotta go with some hat here.
Yeah. All right. So I don't know how do you want me?
Yeah, I got a fancy measurement. Basically, I'm gonna actually have you hold it on your head right there, and then I'm gonna wrap all the way around, kind of coming straight across the longest part of your head, and then I'm gonna stop to get a good measurement here. All right, and you can let go. I got you now. All right, and we got you at about 58 centimeters. So that's gonna be, you know, between, in most brands, that will be between a medium and a large.
Okay.
Except for Bell, that'll be a small. So, you know, it's one of those things you can't think that, hey, I'm a medium and I'm going to fit in a medium in every helmet, because each brand, you know, has a little bit different measurement on what they think small, medium, and large is. Yeah, I got a measurement for you, which is a 58. And Stilo doesn't make a 58, but they do run small. So we always say whatever you measure, go one size up on a Stilo. So I'm going to start with a 59. So I'll just start you off right here.
That. All right, so let's go ahead and try this bad boy on. We're going to make the hat here a little bit worse, but it's okay.
I'm going to get used to that.
Oh.
And so with the Stilo, you're in a unique situation that you don't get in a lot of other helmets. There are replaceable cheek pads, so we can actually dial the cheeks in to your face. We can get them skinnier or we can get them thicker to making the contact that it needs. But as your first initial trying the helmet on, I don't want you to think about your cheeks at all.
Okay.
I want you to really concentrate on like what the crown of your head it feels like. Do you feel like you're getting contact? Is it applying pressure? It should apply pressure, but it shouldn't apply pressure to give you a headache. It should just be snug.
Okay, yeah.
I quite often tell people, if you wear a hat, like I saw you wearing a hat when you walked in, it should feel almost like how a hat fits around your head, how you would tighten it so that you can walk around outside and maybe there's a slight breeze. You don't want your hat just flying off, right? It should be making contact with your head.
Yeah, it definitely feels snug around the top of my head.
Okay.
So it feels good.
Feels good. Doesn't feel like too much pressure. Doesn't feel like if you wore it for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, that it's going to give you a headache.
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think
and so we usually do put people, we give them a 10-minute rule quite often when people are trying helmets on. We'll say, hey, sit down, relax for 10 minutes, get on your phone or walk around the store and do some shopping, and make sure that 10 minutes is gonna work out for you. We also do have a 30-day return policy here. As long as you don't wear the helmet to the track, as long as you don't wear it to race in, you can take it home, you can wear it for the weekend at your house, maybe do a little sim drive and maybe just watch a movie. But as long as you bring it back in new condition with all the original packaging, we will exchange it for you or refund you for it. But it does look like the 59 is good. You did do a thing that I like. A lot of people will put helmets on if they're too big. Usually there's a word they say this is really comfortable. And it's a lot of time that's a super flag that I'm like, okay, maybe it could be one size too big for you. Because the bigger the helmet is, of course, it's not making any pressure on you. It should make pressure on your face. It should make pressure on your head. You don't want it to move. It's there to protect you in the event of you having to stop quickly. So
I've gotten fitted for a motorcycle helmet before, and I was like, oh, this is way too tight on my face. Like, no, you don't want it to be loose. So I kind of understand that piece of it. But you know what? Since there's a 10-minute rule, we have some more shopping to do anyway.
For sure.
So maybe I'll just do the shopping with my helmet on. How do I look, Felix? The following part, I can stabilize it in post, so don't worry about it. You know what? Just walk smoother. Just walk smoother.
Sitting here like shaking.
you gotta walk like this. You know?
Yeah, you know exactly. All right, guys, as you can see, we have been all kitted out. Thanks to Sean here. So much help, so much more information that I anticipated even getting. Like I said, I was gonna buy some of these things online, and thanks to Sean, this was much easier process, so thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Thank you, Jorge. I appreciate the business here.
Yeah.
And you come visit us at any of our locations here in Austin, Texas, also Des Moines, Iowa, or you can check us out on competitionmotorsport.com, where we can get all your needs taken care of.
Boom. And like he said, don't be afraid to call them because they have all the information. So if you don't know what you're looking for, give Sean a call, guys. All right, let's get out of here. All right, guys, we're all wrapped up with Sean at Comp Motorsports. So again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to give them a call. We'll have their information down in the description below. Felix and I just spent a grip of money
Decent amount
on all kinds of cool stuff. So from here, we're getting ready to head out back to the shop, get the cars ready, and then we'll see them at the HEB Center for the PCA event.
Yep, so it's going to be at our local HEB Center here, and this time in Austin, it's in Cedar Park. It's a one-day event. It's a full-day event. I'm excited to attend.
All right, let's see what happens.
Let's go.
All right, guys, we finally made it to the HEB Center for our Autocross event hosted by the PCA group. Ryan and I are going to be driving the yellow GT3, and then Felix and Alvin are going to be driving the GT3 RS. A lot of aero, not a lot of track. Yeah. So we'll see we'll see what we can do with that. So if you guys want to see a video with that, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever they drop that portion of the video, because that should be pretty fun to watch. But it's time for us to get out there in our stations. First up is Ryan and Felix to get into the cars. Alvin and I are going to be corner workers, so we'll check in when we're done with that. Let's go. All right. Yeah. philosophy for today? Just finished wrapping up the autocross event here at the HEB Center. Felix won some prizes with the time of
46.5.
He cheated. He had
The first 5 times.
he had the Hoosier Track Attack Pros on there, so he got a decent time, I guess. But Alvin and I were working hard in the other cars, and then our boy Ryan closed out with it. What time did you close out with?
48.3.
48.3. So most of us, I'm not gonna drop names, got into the 40s. But
Yours was not even clean.
Hey,
Tell me see.
hey, it was clean. All right. All right, y'all. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up from here. We'll see you guys back at the shop to do our closeout. We'll see you there. All right, guys. We are back here at the shop after the autocross event hosted by HRC PCA. Felix, our first times driving big dog Porsches at a autocross event. How do you feel about that?
What I take away from it, being that I have thousands of laps in each of those cars literally at COTA, is the fact that you get to push the car comfortably, right? I don't know what we saw max speeds, but it couldn't have been much, 30, 40, maybe 50 miles an hour here or there.
You may have been hitting 50, Mr. Fastest lap of the fucking
if you got a little bit froggy. So you get to feel what the car is doing, right? Besides that, you get to start experiencing what oversteer is, understeer is, and you start making micro corrections for that, right? It's not the same to have either of those moments at a place through the carousel at COTA, which you're going 100 miles an hour, versus having it at something slow speed here, like in some places we were going 20. You'd go into the corner, the car was pushing a ton, and guess what we all did by nature? We just turned the wheel more, right? Or you go into the brakes, into the ABS, the car starts going into ABS, and what do? You give it a harder pedal. So I think it gets you in the correct mindset on understanding that if the car's pushing like this, you give it more wheel, the car is gonna continue pushing. Now, I think autocross also can induce some bad habits, right? Because we're having to shuffle for tight corners.
Or me driving one.
Parking lot pimping. So it also gives you bad habits, but there's very little of that. I mean, when you're on the track, ideally your hands just stay 9 at 3.
Yeah.
You turn the car, sometimes you'll find that you're doing a little bit more than 90 degrees, but it's in very select corners. Now, what did I show you about seat position? Because you also learned about seat position.
Yes, I did, because I definitely was through the slaloms, and you guys will see it in this video, that at my first couple sessions, I was definitely one-handing it and flipping the car through the cones. And then after I was speaking to you, you were telling me that the proper sitting position would be obviously 2 hands on the wheel. And if I'm turning the wheel 90 degrees and my shoulder's coming off the seat, then I may be a little too far away from the steering wheel.
Yes.
So I made some adjustments to my seating position, and then got to the point where I was using 2 hands through the S's. And it took some getting used to because I felt more comfortable whipping it through those slaloms with one hand. But definitely moving the seat forward more gave me a little bit more room to feel comfortable with turning the wheel 90 degrees or more in some cases.
It's a lot to learn, but I think this is an excellent step before going 10/10 at a track day or trying to go 10/10, because it doesn't matter what you're saying right here now, or if you were slower than Ryan by a second or two. I mean, you felt like you were giving it. You're giving it the juice, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the main things that I took away from this, and we spoke about this before we filmed this, is the level of confidence that Ryan had versus the level of confidence that I had. I felt like I was talking to myself like, we're gonna cook. And let's just say we didn't go full throttle in a lot of sections, but you guys will see here that Ryan was giving it full throttle in a lot of sections where I just didn't have the confidence or the courage to do that.
Exactly. That maybe because you didn't want the rear end stepping out, but also because you don't know like the braking capacity of the car, right? And Ryan has a ton of laps.
Ryan's a
in that
beast.
car. Ryan's a beast. So Ryan keeps me on my toes. He can go out in a different car with not as good tires and just set a heater, and it's like, okay. Then. So I'm gonna start with the thing that I think you did the best at, which was actually growing up to the car. I saw progression through every session, and not only did we see that through the lap times, but we saw it in your driving. We saw that on the confidence. You're being a little bit braver on the throttle, a little bit braver on the brakes. We spoke about line, right? So you were now digging onto like what's the fastest way to go around this corner. You weren't just chucking it into the corner, giving it a ton of steering wheel. So you actually, just from the one day you were in the car, you were starting to digest a lot, and all this slow speed stuff definitely translates to high speed stuff at Coda.
Yeah, for sure. And I think me just having a seat time on the sim kind of helped me in some aspects.
Has to.
Because one thing that I felt, and I told Felix, is like, hey, look at the V-Box footage. Was I kind of trailing the brake a little bit through some of the turns? Because I felt like, especially at the first hairpin, I was giving it brake and I was keeping the brake on to keep the front end biting to get through the turn. Because one of the reasons why we didn't have a ton of time to film at the Autocross event is because either you're driving or you're working a corner. And I was on corner 1 the entire day, looking at people go through that turn and either not getting close enough to the cone and being spit out way far left and having to navigate back onto the course, or eating the cone. So I thought that trailing the brake a little bit, even though it's not a lot, like you can see in the trace that I'm not giving it a full 10 pedal on the brakes. I'm giving it just enough in my mind to keep the front end biting and turning through the corner. And I feel like that kind of helped a little bit.
That actually helped a lot. And I like the fact that you're already working on that concept. You've already been working with histograms, so you understand the peaks and where it needs to be. And you've already correlated a histogram to your pedal.
Yeah.
So I really like that. But one thing that you should have learned, or something you probably did naturally as well in the autocross, was the fact that sometimes you are not, you're simply slowing down the car through decel of the car or through engine braking of the car. And then just the tire does a lot of slowing down for you, right?
Yeah.
So these are all concepts that you may not get on a sim, but once you start doing laps on the car, they just kind of come natural. But it's until you start thinking about it like, oh, why does Felix destroy more tires than Ryan? Well, probably because I'm slowing down the car more with tire
Right.
and the slow speed stuff.
To me, I just felt like, again, going back to the confidence thing, either I was getting on the brakes or I was getting off the throttle to slow the car down.
Yeah.
Because maybe we'll find it in the V-Box footage, but I felt like I got into ABS in a few sections for sure, giving it too much brake and then giving it too much throttle. There was one part where I felt like the rear end was kind of kicking out from under me. So those things, I was either trying to compensate with brake or throttle, and then what you're saying is that you can actually slow down the car with steering input, with the tires of the car, because naturally the car wants to go straight at its fastest. The second you start putting some input into it, it's going to slow the car down, and that's just something that I'm not quite confident in doing yet. But then now just being able to actually push it a little bit through some of those sections where the car just felt super balanced. And I think that goes back to some of the modifications that go into it, right? The rigidity of the chassis with the half cage, with the strut tower brace that was just recently installed. Video will be linked in one of these corners, so check that out if you guys want to see something about strut tower failures, because it's pretty easy in some of these Porsches. So make sure you guys check that video out. But the car just felt amazing. All right, guys. So by the looks of it, it does look like Autocross is a really good way to get familiar with not only your car, but with yourself before spending the hundreds, if not thousands, on getting your car on track. Right, Felix?
Yeah, absolutely. Me from a mechanic side, it's going to be very low consumables. You do not have to worry about having the craziest brake fluid. You're not going to go through the tires. You're probably going to use a little bit of pad, and we probably in each car use like $30 of fuel.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, for $50, and this was just the PCA event, right? I'm not sure what the average cost for an autocross event is, but it was $50.
50 to 100, whatever. It can be much.
I learned a ton. I got to experience the car, some of the mannerisms, and a lot of the slow speed corners. So we think it's really a really good bang for buck experience if you're trying to get into tracking.
Absolutely.
So Felix, We did the autocross for me. What's next from here?
So the next step is to see if Jorge can redeem himself in a kart. So we're gonna go back to karting, and the reason we're gonna go back to karting is because now you've continued to do your sim. Now you have the sensation of what it is to be in a car, and now I want to see if you can put that in a kart, right? In the kart, I think you're still gonna be able to be a little bit brave, but now you have a in the butt feeling, not in the butt, pause. You have a So yeah, you have that sensation now of the yaw in the car. You know what pushes, you know what understeer is. So you've now pieced terminology with actually feeling it, not feeling it on the sim, Jorge, feeling it in real life.
Yeah.
So you now have that, and putting you in a kart, I guarantee you're going to be a different person in a kart.
Yeah, for sure. And if you guys didn't watch that video, we'll have that link somewhere here as well.
That was a fun video.
One of the scariest things about that was feeling the kart actually rotate. Like, these weren't K1 karts; these were pro karts, where there's a lot of momentum that has to be kept to keep the kart fast, and a lot of rotation that happens, and that just freaked me out. And I went off course. So make sure you guys check that video out. And then the finale is what, Felix?
Finale is putting you in a car at Coda. And
oh my God!
Are we gonna do our comparison that we're talking about?
I mean, shoot. Well, stay tuned. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit that like button down below if you guys actually like the content. Comment your questions, and then who knows? Maybe we'll see how lap times in a sim compare to lap times in real life between a novice and an advanced driver. Let us know what you guys think down in the comments below, and we'll catch you guys for the next one.